Welcome to my channel. This is Pizzo's Perfection, because perfection is never perfect. And this channel is a booktube, a author tube, all things writerly. We discuss my road to publication as a want-to-be, soon-to-be, speaking it, children's book author or writer in general. And so today I want to talk about my writing journey, where I'm at right now, what am I doing, what's happening. So I wanted to give you a writer's update on what's happening in my world as a writer. Thank you so much for stopping by. Please subscribe, like, and share. Subscribe, like, and share. And comment. Tell me what you're writing. Tell me what your journey looks like. Let's have a conversation. Let's have a dialogue that will help continue to encourage and inspire us to reach our goals as writers, okay? All right, so I wrote some notes, so I might be referring to my notes so I stay succinct and don't bore you with the rambling. And that also helps me do less editing so I can get more videos out. So right now, I'm working on four books primarily. And I've been writing about 15 years, consistent writing about where a month doesn't go by that I'm not writing something or producing something that would be, whether it's fictional or poetry or essay or a manuscript. So that's been going on for about 15 years. I've learned a lot about myself. I know I want to be both a self-published as well as a traditional published author. So I have some dreams about how I want my traditional children's books to be given. Scholastic is something that has always been a part of my life and been major as an educator, but even as a young child, when we talk about books and access, and I would love for one of my books to be in a Scholastic flyer. You guys remember those? They're still around. They're still around. I buy books from them all the time. So I would love to have a book in a Scholastic flyer. I would love to be given away at Rift. We know that Rift is Reading is Fundamental, and they provide books for the most underserved communities and children who fall within the 200 or below poverty level in most school districts. Free and reduced lunch, those buildings have Rift. And so I would love for my books to be an available book in Rift because I know how powerful it is to have access for all children to receive quality literature, and I would love for one of my books to be there. I've never really had a dream to be on a New York Times bestseller list. I know that's a big buzz right now, but I always am thinking of the one who is less served, and New York Times bestsellers list doesn't always reach that audience. I know that comes with a certain level of accolades and a certain level of pride, but that's just never been one of my big old dreams. But Scholastic flyer, Rift, being given away at Rift, that would be a big deal for me. And so I've been writing for a very long time. I write everything from picture books to middle grade to YA. I have some women's essay collection I'm working on and have been working on for quite a while. And I also write novels, just novels in general. So I wanted to give you an update of where I am right now in this process. And I'm going to use a little bit of the words of famous writers as well to help you know that this journey is a personal journey, but it's also very reflective of many other writers' journeys. So you're not alone in your pursuit. You're not alone in your goals and in your endeavors. And hearing from other major writers, other big name writers helps me understand that I'm not alone in this. So one of the first quotes that I wanted to share was, I just read an article written about Danielle Steele, who is, I think she has 189 books on the bestseller list at one point or another. She's in the Guinness Book of World Records for the most published books ever. It's a fascinating article about her writing life, but one of the things that she said was it came from the gut, not from the cash register, about who she was as a writer. That's definitely me. That is very reflective of what I feel about myself as a writer, that it comes from the gut. It's just a part of me wanting to be a writer. It doesn't come from the cash register. So I don't try to write to trends or try to write to what's popular or try to write to create money. It would be nice to be able to have some revenues from all the hard work. I think that's validating, and I would love to do this full time and be able to retire early from my current career and move into that so I can be a mom to my adult children as they continue to grow. I still have babies at home, and to be a grandma eventually and really help my children a lot. So I would like to move into this full time as a full-time writer, but I don't need to get rich off of it. That's never been an ambition of mine. I don't need to be a millionaire off of it. That would be totally like icing if it happened, but that's not why I write. That is not why I write, and that's not why writing is such a passion of mine. It came from the gut. It's just a part of something that's in me, not from the cash register. That's just how I feel. And that quote is from Danielle Steele. One other quote she says is, sometimes it can feel like dragging an elephant across the table, but I get through it. When she's talking about how she tackles a new story, a new manuscript, a new novel that she's plowing through, it can feel like an elephant. That's quite a metaphor, being dragging it across the table, but she gets through it. And right after I read that quote, I thought of the quote, the famous saying, how do you eat an elephant? Which I wouldn't want to eat an elephant, but how would you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Jacqueline Woodson and Walter Dean Myers are both young adult writers. Walter Dean Myers, rest in heaven, is no longer with us, but I studied them for a very, very long time. I taught many of their books. I have almost all of their works in my home. And both of them, I heard them give speeches at different points in my journey, and both of them talked about how they write numerous books at the same time. When they get bored with one, they put it aside, or if they get stuck at a part, they put it aside and they'll start another one. And the stories are constantly flowing. And so sometimes they have to give attention to another story just to get it off their back a little bit so that they could complete and focus on the other one. I'll do a special video on what I do to get other stories off my back, because I do have a strategy for that. Because I'm also bombarded with one story after another. Sometimes I'll wake up and there's a character sitting on my bed saying, hey, tell them my story. Tell them my story. And I'm like, no, I'm revising. I'm editing. I cannot tell your story right now. So I have a strategy for that. But I learned that about them years ago, and I sort of took on that strategy, is that I would have a constant rotation of works so that I don't get bored with one, because I can be flighty. I can get bored. I could continue to keep the well flowing. I'm always trying to harvest stories, pick out the best nuggets of the stories and really develop them. But that means I'm in a constant rotation of writing stories, constantly. What I'm going to talk about where I'm at right now is the 4 main novels or works that I'm working on right now, and where I'm at in the process with those. And hopefully it can help you get a better understanding or get insight on your writing journey and how you navigate the works that you are producing. I am working on 4 books right now. The first one is a poetry collection called Disparities, and it is ponderings concerning the child poverty crisis in America. I'm a huge follower of Marian Wright Elderman, and my career has really kind of been in the vein of watching her. She wrote a book over 25 years ago when I was first started my career journey, and I was entering law school, and I was really trying to find some direction, called The Measure of Our Success. And that book had such a profound effect on me and what I wanted to be as a career person and as a woman passionate and committed to the work of young people in this country, that I've continued to follow her. And she's produced many books on prayer. She was a founder and executive director, CEO of the Children's Defense Fund. She just this year stepped down and is now the emeritus. She's just had a profound effect on me. This poetry collection sort of gives honor to the work that she has done and the work that I consistently do to help support children who are underserved and who have the least amount of resources to be successful, but the greatest human potential to be successful. So that's Disparities. Where I'm at with that process is that I am self-publishing right now all of my poetry, and I would like to produce it once a year, a poetry collection. I start to work on the poetry collection each April, with April is Poetry Month. And I try to just develop a theme. The poems come to me connected to that theme because I've been doing this for a little while. So Disparities, I hired a designer to design my cover, and I love my cover. It is fabulous. It's fabulous. And they are now putting together the back cover. It's taken a long time to go through draft after draft after draft of how I want the back cover to be. I've had it beta read several times, and I've been starting to share it in readings within my community. And I plan to have it completely finished and published, hopefully, before the end of the year. That's the goal. 2019, that book will be published, and it will be my first collection of poetry called Disparities. So that's where we are with that. And I actually have, this is a mock-up copy of it. So I don't know the word count, but this is the number of pages it is. And it's so funny because I looked at these two when I brought it over to talk to you about it, and it says ready. And then it says review again. That's the story of my life with my writing. So this is Disparities. I'm really proud of that work, and I've just been chugging along to get that finished, and it will be quite an accomplishment for me to be able to put that out into the world. The next book is a short story collection called D Nice. I probably have been writing that short story collection for about, I want to say 5 years. And I finally finished it. And then, of course, you should always put your work away for a while. And that's why we have the constant rotation of works. Because while one is cooling off and you're trying to recalibrate your brain not to think about it so that you can look at it with fresh eyes, you're working on something else. And so I put that away several times. And I've won a literary contest online with it. It had one of the stories published online. I love that book. Every time I read the stories, I fall in love with it all over again. But basically, the premise of it spans half of a century, following young people, 10 young people growing up in the inner city of Detroit. And it exposes their vulnerabilities, hopes, dreams, and complexities, but also champions their humanity. And I love it. So you see everything from teenage pregnancy to hope to them wanting to pursue a lifelong dream, to discovering what their purpose is. It's just a wonderful tribute to a city that I grew up in, but it's also a tribute to the strength of the people that live in the city of Detroit. And there's some history buried all throughout the stories. And I really love that. And I have some special dreams for that. So I'm in the probably 5th round of revisions, putting it away, bringing it back out, going through it, fine-tooth comb. I do want that published through my alma mater, which is the university I went to in the city of Detroit. And I would like, they have a special publishing or program called Made in Michigan. Made in Michigan. And they publish authors from Michigan, their works that are reflective of our community. And so I would love for that book to be a part of that series. So that's a goal that I plan to send it out to. But I also have a couple of other agents and publishers that specialize in short story collections that I would like to send that work to as well. So I feel like I'm going to take it through one more round of edits and revisions, and then probably start pushing it out and querying and submitting. The biggest holdup of it right now for me is I need to create a proposal for it. And I just haven't had the time, because that's a different type of writing. That's technical writing versus and creative writing. And so I just need to be in a different vein, long period of time to produce that technical document. So I'm on to, I have started. Stop. The proposal, but now I feel like I've started where it's further enough along that I can finish it. And my goal is to have that finished before the end of the year. I have so many stories. I gotta start clearing the cache a little bit, clearing out the cupboards so I can put more in. So that's D Nice. It's about 45,000 words, and I just love it. I love it. Spans half a century, 50 years, and it's special to me. All right, and then I have a middle grade novel, Agents in the End Zone, and it's about 46,000 words. And it's a team of best friends training to have a championship football season when they discover that their mothers are more than what they ever could imagine. So it's fun. It's an adventure. I wrote it probably, my son is 13. This is telling. My youngest son is 13, and I started writing it when he was 8. I finished it by the time he was 10, where I felt like I had been through at least one round of revisions. And now it's a matter of me having to put away, working on other works, working life in the fringes. And so it's at a good place, though. It's at a really, really good place. And I feel like if I really dedicate 2 or 3 months to it, every day plowing through, I can get it to a place where it's ready to go on submission. All right, so that's the middle grade novel, Agents in the End Zone, about 46,000 words, completely finished. All right, and then the next one is my baby that I'm working on right now, and it's the YA novel. I always thought that I would only write like middle grade and down, picture books, chapter books, because I have a whole lot of those completed too. And this character just kept knocking on my door, and this whole idea just formed in my imagination, and I was able to go. I wrote this book in less than 3 months. Every morning, 5:30 to 7 for 3 months. And then I hit NaNoWriMo month, and I said, I'm going to finish this, at least 55K in this month, and I did. And it was just fast. It was fast. And now it's a matter of me putting away, revising. So I have to put it away for a few months so my eyes are fresh, and then pull it out again, put it away, eyes are fresh. Wisdom House Dance Club. And it's a coming of age story depicting a 15-year-old girl who has to discover that she's a survivor, whether her first love is with her or not. And that her community is a source of strength for her. I am in a deep dive revision with this one. This is the last and final revision. I am certain I'm going every 50 pages. It's 57,000 words. And it's about 210 pages. And I am doing every 50 pages deep dive. So I'll actually show you. So this is it. This is its folder. I have a new strategy for revising, and I'm really liking it. So I have one of these hanging folders like this with the hanging things. And inside of it, I map the stories chapter by chapter as I revise. But I also keep the manuscript inside of it clipped, not in a binder. I used to put it in a binder. And when I put it in the binder, it just stopped my ability to revise the way I need to deconstruct the story. I now just clip it and keep it inside of here. When I need it, I can pull out the whole folder. But this is it. Everywhere you see a blue sticky, that is a correction, a revision. So it is pretty intense. It's pretty intense. And I'll tell you, this is my third run through. The way you get from your work, the better you're able to see it, the better your story is able to form, the better your story is able to shape itself. Each page looks something like that with lots of red or blue. Sometimes I'll have a brain fart and say, oh, I should be doing this, and then totally be wrong. And have to totally go back and read through it and say, what were you thinking? That's not even halfway grammatically correct. But every page has something. Some pages more or less. Some pages is one or two lines. Some pages is a whole remapping, restructuring. I used to tell my students all the time, when you think about revisions and edits, revisions are the big things you do, and edits are the little things you do. I used to actually use that voice tool, move a period here, correct your spelling. But revisions are structure, pacing, moving in characters, defining the character arc, adding elements of complexity. That's what you do with a revision. It's the big things. And I love doing it. And some days I do feel like I'm just not moving quite fast enough. But what I've come to understand also is that it takes a lifetime to have a life. It takes a lifetime. What else am I going to do? This is what I'm doing. And it's perfectly fine. I used to tell my students that all the time who would bemoan going to college. I don't want to go to college. It takes too much time. And I'm thinking, what else you going to do? Time is going to keep moving whether you choose to go to school or not. That's where I'm at. I have a big, huge announcement coming up that is pretty incredible. Big, huge announcement. One little step at a time. One bite at a time. Just keep swimming, keep swimming. I truly believe that. It feels like you're dragging that elephant across the table, but in all actuality, you'll get there. It takes a lifetime to have a life. And so if this is something that you're passionate about, I got 4 books that I didn't have 10 years ago. Just one day at a time. And one day I'll be able to say I have 4 published books. And then one day I'll be able to say I have 8, and I have 10, and I have 12 or 16. And so that's the goal. And one day I'll be able to say, I went to my baby's school and there was my book in the Scholastic flyer. And one day I'll be able to hear, I picked your book up at Rift Time. It takes a lifetime to have a life. And so this is the life I'm choosing to have. My kids benefit from it because they're always so proud. My husband is so proud of me just pursuing. You are an inspiration. When you dream about something, then you go for it. And with a steadfast faith, you achieve it. Amen. God bless you always. So I just love that. And the card is, some women carry a certain no-nonsense, yes-to-life attitude that makes the rest of us feel good about ourselves and our place in the world. That's you for sure. And today especially, I thank God for bringing you right into the world just as you are. So this was my birthday. I try to think of that when I think of the work I'm doing here on Pizzo's Perfection, and the work I'm doing here in all of my writing and in all of my novels. I try to think of that to be, inspiration and a positive light in the world, pursuing so that others can know that they too can pursue and can achieve their goals. Thank you so much for joining me. This is Pizzo's Perfection. I try to post twice a week. I try to post Wednesdays and Thursdays. So come on back, subscribe, like, share, comment. Subscribe, like, share, comment. I want to get these followers up so I can give away some prizes and some goodies. All right, have a great day.